Right, hello everyone and welcome to the third round of the SRP Top Step Championship. The V8 Supercars are back and we're live from Manfeild Park, which is somewhere which we actually visited in pre-season testing. But quite an interesting little track that we have to take you around today for two races, and obviously two qualifying sessions before them. And not Robert Wiesemüller this time. I am Lewis McGlade and I'll be doing your lead comms for today's action, and alongside me as always is Mike Bell. Say hello.
Hello everyone. Hopefully will be some interesting racing today to talk you through, and maybe a change in the championship protagonists, who knows.
Yeah, quite possibly, as the big story is at present, with Jesper Tolborg, I do not believe, is here for this afternoon's running. But yeah, no, we've got hopefully still an interesting championship that might line itself up, but if Jesper does not return, then it's going to be quite an easy championship run for Eric Strana to become the first champion of any top step league, as obviously this is the first. Now, at present, we've got Danny Asbury about to do some laps, so we'll have a little look at him, see what he's doing, and this is the brand new team for Top Step at the moment, obviously with sign-ups reopening. It's always good to have new teams, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it is. Add something new and to the grid, and they're a team that aren't necessarily going to be in the championship hunt because of when they've started the championship, but they can still be in there for race wins and possibly with less to lose than, say, Ice Cold Racing or THR. Yeah,
Danny, with the guy with some of the experience in these V8s, obviously over in the TPS series, where I just got to bring it up. He did start a race in reverse. Why not check that out on this broadcast? Sure. He's moved himself up to 6th position. This is the important thing, though. He's only 2/10 off of the lead, being so close to only 2/10 off the lead, and 6 positions. The grid is just very, very close at the moment, and It's really nice to have such a short track. We're only talking just over a minute long, 62 seconds, current fastest time of John Munro, and that just means that it's very, very close out there.
Yeah, the top 18 currently separated by 1.1 seconds, so really is anyone's game for the front couple of rows of the grid.
And just to bring it up, as we previously alluded to in the championship table, this is currently what we have going on in the championship. Jesper Tolborg, championship leader, 90 points he has. He drove last time for YTF1, however, this time is not in a vehicle. Closely followed by Eric Strana and Eric de Veit of Ice Cold fame. And Eric Strana, who we're going to assume is going to take the championship lead after today's action. Rasmus Salo in fourth, quite close to the back of Eric de Veit, and he's looking nice out there. We've also got some interesting strategy stuff for him coming up, but we'll get back to that. Then it's Adrian Holm, who is definitely not racing, however may return for Sandown from what I'm hearing. He can do the the even-numbered events. Odd-numbered events, well done. I should probably get Quick Math James involved if I'm going to call out those stuff like that. Rob Taplin in 6th position, closely followed by Oscar Hobbick, who is not here. I do believe Oscar Hobbick isn't here, as he's at home or something. And then it's Anders Nielsen, Gary Lennon, and David Yunt. That is your top 10 in the championship. And obviously, teams wise, I'll just flick through the top 5 with Ice Cold leading very nicely indeed, about just over 30 points in front of THR, who are 30 points in front of One on One. Then that's YTF1, which is only 10 points behind, or just over 10 points behind, and Optimum Sim Racing a distance behind that. It's quite a spread out teams championship, quite a spread out drivers championship, especially for the lead. So maybe this track can give us some lovely racing, as we had last time out in Ruapana.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's so close at the front. I mean, the fastest time in practice session is currently held by John Munro, who's currently sitting outside of the top 10 in the championship. He's sitting 14th, ahead of Strani, and then Rasmus Salo, and then Fran Lopez, who I don't believe has even got a point to his name yet this season. And then Johan Makiupi, who's another driver in the lower end of the top 20. So it's definitely going to shake things up.
Indeed. And whilst we talk about what's going on and who's here. Here is the Spotter's Guide, which I'm sure you can just look at. I won't flick through everyone, of course. You've got the two ice colds in the top left with Rasmus Salo alongside. That's the top 3 of the top 4 in the championship sitting there. So we've got a nice grid looking forward. And as much as you may look at like the championship itself, as far as that's concerned, I'm pretty confident that Eric Strana's going to get this one. I don't think anyone's going to get that close unless he misses around as well and JT comes back. But when you're looking past that, when you're looking at the race by race event, we have had the first round, which kind of had a little bit of a runaway win from Eric Strana, obviously once the strategies had played out a bit. But then last time at Ruapana, it was crazy. The strategy was working so beautifully. And hopefully we're going to have that same kind of thing here, especially on such a short track. How the strategy is going to work out, who's going to be no stopping, who's going to be having multiple stops to their name. It's going to be an interesting thing that we've got to wait out and see what's going to happen. Obviously the first qualifying session going to come up in just over a minute and a half. And then we can really get the action of today underway.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be some very exciting action similar to that of the Formula 1 race that was on earlier today.
Oh yeah, that one you watched.
But hopefully it'll be more than just the last 10 laps.
Yeah. No, we've got preferably obviously with the 2 races that we've got. I reckon we'll have it same as we did at Ruapana, where we'll have drivers change up strategy between races. A no stop worked, we'll use that. A one stop was definitely the way to go. We'll use that same as it was last time. And sometimes people may be going, that no stop kind of worked, but I reckon second go and we'll have it done. And it's really, really nice the way that the whole environment of the 2 race, as I think Danny Asbury just crashed into the back of Eric Tveit there in the pit lane. But yeah, it's interesting to see how this one's going to work out. That pit lane was something which did cause an accident. I do remember in the test races that we had about a couple of months ago, where someone entered the pits, and obviously the way the final turn rolls into that pit lane, there was quite a nasty crash. So that's probably something that we should look out for and we should keep an eye on, especially in the races Gary Lennon peels off. So I won't jump to him. But with only 13 seconds left of this practice session, some people are flying out of the pit lane for no good reason. Sure.
Just to get another pit lane exit under their belt so that it all goes well in the race and
Indeed.
doesn't cause them any grief in qualifying.
Yes, and qualifying grief is something which we're hopefully not going to see too much of. And I'm just getting all of my stuff ready so we can get ready for the first qualifying session of this evening, as a timer has hit 0:00, and the fastest person is I would say the debutante of the grid, which is Danny Asbury, one of a few on the grid that is debuting here for Top Step, the SRP Top Step Championship. And we're about to roll over into qualifying.
Good showing in practice from both of the high-speed racing guys, Danny Asbury and Janko Glavak, both in the top 10, in fact, bookending it. And also some unfamiliar names heading towards the front, such as Nick Atzadakos from Greek Virtual Racing Team, 11th. Fran Lopez finished in 6th. And Harley Hamnet, 8th place in that practice session after a DNF at Fuji.
Indeed, I see. We've got John Monroe, who is the current man, just in front of us for Aerostream. I'm not sure who their second driver is. I'm going to assume it's Kevin Angwin, who's been their second driver for the championship so far. Now, John Monroe was on the other side of a penalty. I think it was given to Lewis Travis, if I remember correctly. And that would be a good time to put up the penalties. Michael?
Yes, you are correct. I think it was Rasmus Salo, in fact, with John Monroe.
Okay.
A warning was dished out to Rasmus for that, but some of the penalties resulted in 5-point deductions from Oscar Hardwick, Ryan Walker, Arkites Rettes, Ivan Navarro, Lewis Travis, and a 10-point deduction from Eric Tveit. So hopefully those drivers will learn and they'll behave themselves. And Robert Wiesemuller is the first person out on track, followed by John Monroe and Rasmus Salo, so they'll be the first few to go around in set times.
Yep, I did wonder where the Sharkskins was of Robert Wiesemuller, who's been doing the commentary for the previous 2 rounds, and that's where that name might be familiar. Currently sitting in the Sharkskins car. I would have actually thought he would have been THR, but nope, Sharkskins for him. And where can he place himself in the first qualifying session that he's taken part in these V8s? In, I would assume it's quite a while. He seemed to have decent pace though. But obviously this 15-minute session allows drivers to give it multiple attempts to do a lap, multiple attempts to pull together something interesting, as we saw Jesper Tolborg do only 2 weeks ago, where he did quite a few laps in qualifying from what I remember, and there was one in the middle that was just almost unbeatable that he did, and everyone kept trying for the whole session, but there was no cigar. Robert Wiesemuller does a 1 minute 2.643, however, quickly beaten by Monroe, and then Salo behind, who's done a 2.488. So already we're about 4/10 off of where they are, off of where they were in practice. Matt Richards has jumped up into second position, only 10 thousandths behind. But then Danny Asbury does a 2.437. So yeah, they're going pretty speedy, and it's looking close. But yeah, they're quite a lot slower than where they were in the practice session.
Danny's a 10.5 up on Asbury, currently 15th coming out the final turn.
Oh, I just jumped to 15th, and that was Ivan Navarro.
He's down to 18th now, and now he's first.
Oh, you see, I can't keep up. But there you go. Eric Strana does a 1 minute 2.410. And I'm just looking down. You've got Darry Tapper, who's just jumped into 9th position, just over 2/10 off of Strana's time. That is how close it is there at the moment. Robert Wiesemuller then moves up into P1. I think they're just getting their tyres up to temperature. Wiesemuller's time a 2.344, and Strana's having a bit of traffic on his lap at the moment. I believe that's Ruben Martins, who's just gone off the road a bit. Eric Strana, who was 1/100th off of Wiesemuller's time for the first sector. Is he going to drop more as Anders Nielsen goes into 12th position on a 2.926? Where is Strana going to be crossing the second sector? He's 2/10 up, is Eric Strana, so the traffic not really causing him too many problems as he comes up to the final turn, Dunlop corner. As he runs towards the line, where is he going to go? Eric Strana, I'm going to assume to pole position, but what time is pole position? 2.239. His time. Who is going to be beating that? Robert Wiesemuller is coming out of the pit lane to give it another stab.
Rasmus Salo is a 10th up on that. He's currently 5th.
Oh, yes.
Himself in the one-on-one.
Yes, Rasmus Salo, one that we've said is one that we should look out for. As Mike, you want to do him over the line?
3/10 up on himself in the end, and 700ths ahead of Strani. So that's current pole time.
Indeed, that is the time to beat. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear a dog howling in the background. That's very awkward. But yeah, this is something that I've just noticed, is that because of the way the 15-minute session works, is they're giving the drivers like 5-minute stabs. It's a 5-minute stab, and then another 5-minute stab, and then another 5-minute stab. So yeah, they're getting quite a lot of attempts.
They are indeed. Currently, everyone seems to be going back out on their out laps, or they're down on their hot laps, except Juha Mäki-Upi. He's currently 14th. He's only half a tenth down on Rasmus Salo's pole time after Sector 1.
Yeah, I've just
onto the back straight.
I've just noticed, I believe it's Harley Hamnet who's moved up into 17th position. And that 17th position that's the second off. You know, that's the level of speed that these drivers are working at the moment. I'm not sure how big the grid is at the moment, but you know, that's quite a hefty margin. So 35 drivers. Yep, I just see, I think that's Mäki-Upi who's, yep it is, Mäki-Upi's just down to 11th now as Glavak, who is another debutant, moves up into 7th position, currently 3/10 off of that time by Rasmus Salo. Where is Tveit? 5th. Okay, yes he is. Indeed, 400ths up on that pole position time that Rasmus Salo has set so early on in the session. I think you'll just see them getting faster and faster. And he crosses the line, goes first to 100ths was the difference. So from what I'm seeing, Rasmus Salo's actually final sector was pretty good, as Gary Lennon moves up into 18th position, as I see from the Live Races board on the left.
Makayuki's improving again. He's a ways behind poleman Eric Tveit at the moment, but still not stopping him from improving and charging up the order.
Indeed, just having a quick look at Danny Asbury as he's completing his first sector. What's it going to be? Wherever the split is, it's there. He's 100th up, is Danny Asbury. Looking for his first pole position in top step, as is quite a few people on the grid. We've only had, obviously, 3 pole position sitters so far.
I think so, too, because Jesper had a double pole.
Jesper did have the double pole. Rapana, and Eric Tveit was the first pole position of the season. So, you know, it's quite likely we're going to get another one. 3,000ths up is Danny Asbury. So this is going to be a very, very close lap time to that 102.1 that Tveit has set. Can Asbury do it? Coming out of the final turn around the little kink at the end towards the line. He does. He drops a little bit of time. He goes third, but he's dropped some time. 300ths off is Danny Asbury, as Rasmus Salo is going very slow on this lap. He's got a lot of traffic, so that's not really something to be looking at. Who else is going quickly? Is Eric Tveit out? He is indeed.
Damon Patella weighs back in 25th. He's miles up on himself, but still so far behind Eric Tveit that will improve him a fair few positions, but not get him into the hunt quite yet for Mara Motorsport. Danny Asbury up almost 2 tenths.
Oh, I've just seen Fran Lopez moves up into 6th position, so that's a really, really good qualifying for him. 102.464 that he's just completed to move him up into that 6th position. Good job from Fran Lopez there. He's just moved Matt Richards down to 7th position.
Asbury set the fastest sector 1 on this lap. He's coming to the line now and just misses pole.
Oh, I accidentally pressed the wrong number. That's good. Yes, Danny Asbury. He's now 200ths off of that pole time that Eric Tveit has set. Can he move his way up? I saw Angwin moved up into the 11th position spot, just shy of the top 10. However, just behind his teammate John Monroe, as I think Walker has now moved up into 14th.
Fran Lopez just improves on his position. He's up on his time again, and he's right behind Gary Lennon. So
Lewis Travers up into 11th.
Help or hinder the experienced driver.
Yeah, just forces his way through. Gary Lennon on the inside. He goes 6th. He does improve. Gary Lennon also improves, but obviously had some time cost by Fran Lopez. Not really sure how we're going to really think of that.
Angwin not far off Tveit at all.
Oh,
3.5 up on himself in 12th.
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really solid time from Kevin Angwin. This should be a nice one for Aerostream as he crosses the line. Oh wow, he loses so much time in that final sector.
Matt Richards is up on himself after sector 1, down on Tveit. Matt Richards currently has the fastest middle sector, so we may see him pull back even more.
Also saw that Atsadakos moved up into 12th position, but Matt Richards, who's currently in P8, 2 tenths down in the second sector for Magenta Warriors, who Oscar Harbeck, the team owner, not racing. I saw Eric Strana has moved up into 3rd. Here comes Matt Richards to the line, drops quite a bit of time, stays 8th. Still 5 minutes to go in the session, so still another stab that these drivers can take if they want to move up. But, you know, I mean, if you're going to sit there and think, nah, my qualifying session's over, I've got 5 minutes to sit back and chill, that is absolutely not the case. Because what you've got to think of is there's going to be 20 or 30 other people who are looking for your position, who are looking to jostle you down the order. And what they are going to do is going to fight very hard for it.
One of those people, Lewis Travers, currently sitting 13th, is 1.3 tenths up on himself after sector 1. He's got a bit of traffic, which could also potentially help him with a tow.
Yeah,
after sector 2.
Makayuki also jumped up
that's
to 14th.
Van der Wild. Back and Monroe in front of Van der Wild. Yeah, ahead of Travis by mistake.
As Lewis Travers crosses the line, goes 11th. Good job from him, his teammate in the background. A couple of people waiting to come out of the pit lane. Oh, that's the wrong button.
My timing seems to be playing up at the moment. I have no idea who's up on who, but Hamnet improves to 15th.
Eric de Veit currently 900ths down. We said it's looking like it's going to take this second lap as Danny Asbury crosses the line on his first lap on this the set lap. I think it's the second lap. It's this lap that is the one that matters, and he's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. One of the Magenta Warriors cars, I believe.
That's Joshua Anderson.
That's yes, Joshua Anderson, who's partnering Matt Richards in the 70. Obviously, having done the first round of the season as Joshua Anderson in the 13 that was for Cosmo Motorsport, his own team. But Danny Asbury, 1/10 down in the first sector. John Munro moves up into 5th position, as I've just seen. So that's a good job from him. As we move back to Danny Asbury, I saw a lagging Strana going across the track.
Matt Richards up on his time. He's 1,000ths down on Eric de Veit after sector 2.
Wow. Okay, this is going to be.
Magenta Warriors. Don't forget, de Veit does have a killer last sector. It's actually been topped now by John Munro as the fastest in the session. But can Richards?
Oh, is that?
8th?
Yep, it's that final sector that de Veit's done just really nicely. Where's Danny Asbury? Oh, where's Wiesen?
He's up on himself. He's just had a slower middle sector. He's still up on himself, but down on de Veit.
Oh, Strana pole. Championship, second position in the championship, moves up into pole position. A 101.986. It's the first time it's in a 101 at this track. So good job from Eric Strana.
That time's only 2/10 up of the theoretical best of all drivers put together, which is a 101.7 currently. So you can tell that the drivers are running different lines and different setups, because the sectors here, they really relate. If you have a bad sector 1, because of your line, you'll have a good run through sector 2 and sector 2 and 3, and vice versa. So
yeah, currently an ice cold 1-2 at the moment in this session, in this first qualifying session of the evening, to be closely followed by a 30-lap race as Anders Nielsen moves up into 15th position on a 102.912.
Hamlet's improving again, almost 3/10 up on himself in 13th. This will really move him up the order.
Steve Van der Velde's in 20th position, which is a good shout for him. Looking a bit slidey in that car. He had Matt Richards just behind.
Hamlet goes 8th.
Hamlet does go 8th, 102.5. Good job from Harley Hamlet to keep that Smile Power Racing in the top 10. Not sure where his teammate's at, but
Roy Magnus is still in the garage. Probably electing to start from the back of the grid.
Indeed. Anyone else improving? Eric Strana's a few hundredths off his own time.
Hamlet's improving again, but just by a hundredth. So
what's de Veit going to do in the first sector? Is this going to be one to go and beat his teammate? He's going to be pushing for it.
He improves to 12th.
Good job from Mackie Yupi. Eric de Veit a couple of tenths down, so I don't think he's going to be improving at all anytime soon. Danny Asbury not currently on a lap, I don't believe. However, he's about to start one. Rasmus Salo electing to stay in the pit lane. John Munro out, not doing a time, having Joshua Anderson hopping his way a bit, but it's okay.
Matt Richards improves, he's gone 8th now.
8th again for Matt Richards as he goes through the first sector, coming up to the split. It's not giving me a split.
Entire grid covered by 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's very impressive and good stuff indeed.
The top 19 covered by just a fraction over a second. So, this is crazy close at the moment. And then we have
Matt Richards
from 24th down, everyone else who's qualified is within a second. So there's real definitive groups out here at the moment.
Yep, I see the qualifying session has currently ended 0-0-0-0 as it reads on the timing. John Munro improves. He's currently 2 tenths down on this lap, and as Nielsen moves up into 16th position, which is just crazy close to pole position.
Last person over the line was Tobias Olsen. He's improving using last lap well, but he gets very sideways going through that section of corners.
Indeed. I think Danny Asbury is also on a lap, but I don't know. He's just finished it.
Brian Walker and Juha Mäki-Yupi both coming around to the line. Walker not improving Mäki-Yupi, however, he's 2 tenths, almost 3 tenths up on himself.
Olsen Almost half
Mackie
a
is 9th.
second. Yeah, Mackie. Good job. His teammate, however, not teammate even. Olsen runs to the line, goes 18th, 1.2 seconds down, so I didn't think he improved on that lap.
That's everyone.
But that there is the first qualifying session that we have, and a good one it was indeed. Now, Eric Strana will start this event from pole position, the first race of the event, which makes him the third different pole setter of the Top Step V8 Championship. So it's good stuff from him. We will flick through the grid, obviously, when the race begins and once we go on the formation lap. But yes, your thoughts on that qualifying session, Mike?
I thought it was very interesting. I mean, there was times changing all over the place. Some unusual names near the front. Again, such as Fran Lopez, qualified up in 7th, Harley Hamlet in 11th. The last minute lap there from John Monroe is boiled ice colds 1-2 on the grid, and put his Airstream right in between them. Good qualifying from the Top Step rookie, Danny Asbury, 4th, and Rasmus Salo, 5th. Strongly at the front as always, ahead of commentary colleague Robert Wiesenmuller in 6th.
Yes, okay, we can flick through that in just a little bit. Now, I wonder if anyone's actually going to do a full lap, so we can actually have a look in a bit more detail as to what this track looks like. As I will pull up the track map now. It's a very short track, a very tight track, but there's some nice straights on there. There's good overtaking opportunities. It's just a wonderful little track with some nice cambered turns. So if you see anyone on a lap, just give me a shout.
Yeah. Juha Mäki and Rasmus Salo currently practicing some starts on the Denny Holmes straight. Fran Lopez is just coming by now. Let's hope he keeps going around so we can get a look at the track. And Fran coming now into Higgins Corner, runs a bit wide. And there's a long run up the back straight towards the final corner of the track, Dunlop Corner, which will be a very popular overtaking move from many drivers, as we saw in the test race, but also a very easy corner to get wrong and end up in the gravel trap, or at worst case the wall. Yeah, he's going to come over to start a lap, down the Suzuki straight, and then into turn 1, which is Toyota Corner. Yep, keep it in second gear. His tail gets out a little bit on the exit as he's trying to get the throttle down early to run towards the Castrol S's. Here they are, 1, 2, and 3 apexes. To the hairpin, and then back onto the Denny Holmes straight. So a very short, very simple lap. Look at it, but very technical and very easy to get wrong and lose lots of time. And even fractions of time will have put you 5, 6, 7 places down this grid.
Yeah, it's just the way that the hairpins and the corners, they all flow into it. It's not a particularly difficult track, as it were. It's quite an easy one to learn. It's quite a nice one just to calmly sit down and drive. But some of the turns, especially this final one, because of the way the late apex works, and you can do a late one, you can do an early one. It opens it up quite nicely to overtaking opportunities. Fran Lopez's first time, 102.699, so not a particularly great time. But the track opens itself up constantly. You've always got somewhere to look. If I were driving around, it'd always be looking in my mirror. Just constantly checking. Oh, where's someone coming at me from this apex? What's happening? It's just a little bit of a tricky track to defend on, but hopefully one that will provide some excellent racing when we move over into the session in 2 minutes' time. As I'm seeing John Monroe and one of the one-on-ones. I'm not really sure which one it is. Going
That's Tobias Olsen.
That's Olsen.
Olsen behind, Salo in front.
Yeah, so they were having a little bit of contact and a nice passing. It's all good.
Yep.
Just learning how the cars feel on heavy fuel.
This track is relatively simple in concept, as we said before, but strategy is going to be a huge part here. It's 90 kilometers, so it's the same distance as the Rapuna races last event. Here it means it's 30 laps because this track is exactly 3 kilometers, give or take a few meters. But it's a very high load track, so a lot more of the front guys have said that they're going to be doing 1 stops, There have been a few that have said that they're going to try to do a no-stop. I know definitely 2 drivers who've qualified inside the top 10 are thinking about doing that, so hopefully they can get round turn 1 safely and we can see which strategy is the best.
Indeed, indeed. As they're all trying to race in pit stops, John Monroe very, very fast into the pit lane. That was scary, damn. Yeah,
He came in a bit too fast there, he was a bit over the limit coming across the line, but hopefully he'll learn and not do that in the race.
yeah. There's an art to entering that pit lane. It's not an easy one, but hopefully one that will just create a bit more fun for the race, I suppose. As everyone's just trying to learn how the car feels on the high fuel. These cars do generally feel very different. They're quite weighty anyway, but it's just a big difference between quali fuel and race fuel, as there is in any car if you've driven them about. However, I believe our warm-up session is about to come to an end, and the 30-lap race will begin.
That's 10 seconds plus however long it takes for everyone on the lap to finish their current laps. We have time. Can we check out the slightly updated skins that there are? Obviously, the high-speed racing cars. Janko Glavik in 6th place is one of them. They're styled under the Vodafone Holden Racing Team colours and design, because you know the Net team are massive fans of them. The Flora Callan in 11th. That's the new livery for Cosmo Autosport. Very very bright. Very loud.
Which position is that in, sorry?
In the 11th, sorry, 32nd. My timing's messing up. As we're going to the race anyway.
Okay, so the first race of the evening about to get itself underway, but what is going to happen? Who is going to be the first into turn 1? As obviously you have Eric Strana starting from pole position. I did notice that John Monroe was apparently starting from 2nd. I don't remember recalling that in the qualifying session.
Yep, it was right on his last lap. He was, I think, 3rd from last to cross the line on his final lap. But he's delivered the goods and he's put himself in 2nd place on the grid. Going now to start the formation lap.
Indeed, indeed. As they all head down into the first turn, Eric Strana, the one starting from pole. Michael, I need you to flick through the grid as I can't see.
Unfortunately, we've lost Tim Stroud switching sessions, but that's unfortunate for the Frammy Racing driver. But on pole, we have Eric Strana. 2nd is John Monroe. That's for Airstream. 3rd is Ice Cold, teammate of Eric Strana on pole. 4th, Danny Asbury for High Speed Racing. 5th, Rasmus Salo for 1-on-1. Robert Wiesenmuller in 6th for the Sharkskins factory team, ahead of Fran Lopez. 7th, great qualifying for Experienced GP, ahead of Matt Richards for Magenta Warriors, then Johan Makiupi for YTF1, Kevin Angwin for Aerostream round out the top 10, ahead of Harley Hamlet in 11th, Janko Glavak in 12th, the 2nd High Speed Racing, then the 2 Walks together as ever, Rob Taplin 13th, ahead of Lewis Travis 14th, followed by Nick Atsadakos 15th, a good qualifying there for Greek Virtual Racing Team. It's Anders Nilsson and Ryan Walker, the 2 Optimums together, 16th and 17th, ahead of Tobias Olsen in the 1-on-1. Gary Lennon in the Save the Ring is 19th, ahead of Ivan Navarro in 20th for the Sharkskins factory team. And Arkites Retes in 21st in the 2nd of the Experiences. Then Alexander Vanderwild 22nd for YTF1, Dawi Tapper 23rd for Vodbull, Joshua Anderson 24th for Magenta Warriors, ahead of Emil Solberg 25th for Save the Ring. In Rui Martins 26th for Mar Motorsport, ahead of Miko Sukas for Vodbull, Damien Patel 28th for Mar Motorsports, and then Lazarus Kayoglu for Mazurek 29th, ahead of David Yunt for THR, didn't qualify back in 30th. Flora Callan for Cosmo also didn't qualify. Roy Magnus 32nd for Smile Power rounds out the grid due to Tim Straub's disconnect.
Yep, so 32 cars getting ready for the start of the first race of the evening, and we'll just have to keep an eye on exactly what's going to happen as we just have a look-see who's lining up at the back of the grid.
Look at Eric Tveit and Danny Asbury.
Indeed, they are pointing exactly towards each other, as if you were watching Formula 1 earlier, that's what the Mercedes were doing. As we get ready for the first race of the evening, the first lights on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th And away we go as Danny Asprey gets there. You go, a bit of contact between those two for P3 and P4. But it's a good start for Eric Strana, and Eric Tveit is going to move up into second position as they head into turn 1. John Monroe on the outside, which means he's probably actually going to drop down to the 4th or 5th if he's on the wrong line, as we see one of the Magenta Warriors. I think that's Matt Richards having a little bit of a slide further back. Let's have a look, see what anyone else is doing. There's quite clean for a start of one of our races. That's very, very nice, as one of the Smile Pals a little bit of contact, but it is currently an ice cold 1-2 as we head down onto one of the back straights. As that's I think it's Danny Asprey who's just been moved off in 5th position, just forced off of the track a little bit on debut. Not really sure who that was by, but Matt Richards up into 4th position. Fantastic start from him, from I believe 8th in qualifying.
Good start from Matt Richards. There was one incident through turn 1, unfortunately bad luck has struck a Van Navarra yet again, as him and Emil Solberg were delayed and they're back in 31st and 32nd, but they're getting back on with the job at hand and catching back up to the back of the field.
Indeed. But yes, it's been a good start from Matt Richards, as we've seen quite a few times before. Danny Asprey dropping from 3rd to, I believe, about 8th position, 7th position even. 7th position. So obviously you got one of these Smile Powers, Harley Hamnet, a couple of positions down, fighting his way to get within the top 10. He's got Juha Mäki-Jypi in front of him for YTF1, and he's just going to try and force his way up anytime soon, I'm sure.
Juha was one of the drivers who told me that they were attempting the no stop for this race, so we should really need to keep an eye on him and Rasmus Salo as well, both of who I know are trying the one stop. Everybody trying the no stop even. Everybody else, we believe, is only one stop strategy. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
I just saw that.
That means that both Eric's, John Monroe, Matt Richards, and Robert Wiesenmuller and Danny Asprey need to get up and go, because effectively Rasmus Salo is 30 seconds ahead of this lot because he doesn't have to pit.
Yeah, indeed, Eric Tveit does the fastest lap of the race, 102.604 as is expected for this. These early stages of the race, saw Lewis Travis earlier on, who talking had gotten past Glavac for P12.
And just past Mäki-Jypi, that's for 10th.
Yeah.
And Salo was all over the back of Matt Richards on the braking for turn 1. So Salo's not saving his tyres at all at this point. He's going out on the attack.
He seems to have dropped a little bit off the back of the Welshman at the moment. But I think it was at Stakos had gotten a little bit over the grass on the exit of the hairpin. But it's all looking clean so far. Obviously, a couple of people having bad luck in entering the pit lane. And our commentator from last time is currently sitting in, I believe, 6th position, is Robert Wiesenmuller. So he's had a good start, as Eric Tveit again does the fastest lap of the race. Danny Asprey now does the fastest lap of the race, a 2.514. So you are going to have things close up towards the front. Danny Asprey obviously got a few cars that he needs to work his way through to get to the fight for the podium. Who's in 12th?
He was attacking Mäki-Jypi but had a really bad run off the corner, and now Glavac is all over him, and Ryan Walker will look to capitalise on anything these two do wrong. There's Glavac looking for any form of overlap he can get.
He's going to have a little look in the hairpin. Does not get himself in. Ryan Walker behind is also having a look.
Yeah, and Sadakos was having a look at Walker as well. Rob Taplin's had a pretty poor start. He's down to 16th.
I see Matt Richards has dropped down, I believe. That's for 4th. But yes, Matt Richards has got a little bit of wheel-to-wheel action with Rasmus Salo, and he's going to force his way through into the final turn. Go and find that late apex. Robert Wiesenmuller, a bit of contact with Rasmus Salo, who then bumps into the back of Richards, who's not happy with that at all. Flashing his lights, a little bit of flashing between the lot of them. Yep, indeed. Danny Asprey trying to go around the outside.
Oh, he's gone off. Get it back on and hold it, but Fran Lopez is on the attack now.
Oh, bit of contact with those two.
And Rose right on the back of Tveit now as well. That's for 2nd. Strani has got the gap out to almost a 2nd, which is...
John Monroe having a little look. However, Eric Tveit is going to have a nice drive down this straight behind. Yeah. Oh, that's naughty.
Big hip and shoulder there.
Oh, Matt, hold it. Hold it. Oh.
They're both going off.
Now, I'm going to be honest. That from Salo was really unnecessary on the straight.
There was a lot of flashy, bumpy from the two of them, so
Yeah.
viewers will almost certainly be called in to have a look at that, as Richards now straight back on the attack against Rob Taplin, and that is Nick Atzidakos there, looking to try and attack Richards, but Salo rejoins in 11th behind Makayupi, and just ahead of Glavak in that same train, so that'll get everyone's hearts racing.
Indeed.
Battle for inside the top 10.
A lot of work for the two of them to do. As Matt's got past two people there at the first turn, one being I think Ryan Walker, as Atzidakos is attacking Rob Taplin.
Being attacked by Rob Taplin. Taplin looking to get back into the top 15 there. But Nick defending well and also trying to attack Ryan Walker given any opportunity. But now Dowie Tapper and Vodball looking for their first points of the season on the back of Rob Taplin.
Yeah, I believe that. Vodball actually one that is currently sitting at negative points at the moment. Obviously, with the 5-point penalty that they received for Miko Sukas and the contact between Miko Sukas and Tim Stroud back in Fuji. I think I just saw. Yeah, I think that's Ryan Walker who's currently driving around with his lights on at the moment. It's kind of odd at the moment. I think a couple of drivers are.
Somebody is in that train. Yeah, they just went. Oh, Richards. Richards really needs to get back in control of that car and in control of himself. Ran way wide out of that corner. Now Walker's going to have the gap open. The figures Atzidakos very opportunistic.
Yeah,
Richards a little bit shut the door there. Richards is going to be fuming at the moment, and he's going to be trying to get back and past these guys as soon as possible.
Indeed, indeed, a lot of work to do.
Salo passing Makayupi. That seemed like a fairly easy move for 9th. The two Finns swapping places.
Indeed, those lights are becoming increasingly irritating from Ryan Walker, who really needs to shut those down very quickly.
Really the same story at the front. Stranley leading, White, Monroe, Isamul up to 4th, and Asbury 5th, Fran Lopez 6th, Hamnet 7th, Angwin in 8th, and then this big train from 9th to, I guess you could count Dowie Tapper as the end of it in 18th.
Well, if your prediction is correct with Rasmus Salo and the Juha Makayupi and the information being told is correct, those two are running actually pretty close together, and they're both no stopping. I don't think Rasmus Salo is probably going to do it now. I think he's taken a bit too much out of this tires, obviously with the sliding and the contact. Atzidakos going off behind. I see that.
Just up ahead of these guys, Harley Hamnet went off in the last corner, lost the place to the opportunistic Kevin Angwin.
What position was that? 7th. Yeah.
John Monroe survives the first lap for the first time, and he's up in 3rd and harassing Eric Tavai. Moment. They all Ford top 4. If anyone is interested in Ford versus Holden battle in this league.
Oh, Eric Tavai off. Eric Tavai off at the final turn. He braked her. I don't know what happened there, but he braked her a little bit too late, I think. And
someone else is off behind. That is Fran Lopez.
What position?
He's just come back on in 9th place. He's lost the place to Rasmus Salo, but he's going to have a huge speed loss to Makayupi. Hits the wall. Makayupi hits the wall and then passes into Fran Lopez. Travis gets held up, and here comes Glaver. Not going to be able to make an overtake, but Makayupi there was a bit frisky and turned the wheel, lost the rear end of his car, went into the wall and bounced back. So that's really unfortunate for everyone involved in that.
Indeed, I remember that. I think the biggest person.
He's disappeared and he's back to 22nd from the end of that train, so everyone's getting a bit of a wheel on.
Yeah, I feel most sorry for Lewis Travis in that. He had to really, really lift out to not get past Fran Lopez, who was out of control in front. Fran Lopez did a very, very good job to catch that, unfortunately, for him to even been in that situation. But yeah, Eric Tveit now giving John Monroe that 2nd position. So, and obviously he's actually given Robert Wiesenmuller and Danny Asbury 3rd and 4th. So he's got a lot of work to do, especially considering he was setting fastest lap of the races earlier on. But 9 down, 21 to go.
Fortunately, we've lost David Yunt somewhere. So
Eric Tveit off again.
30 runners and riders.
Yeah, Eric Tveit off again at the first turn, so that 833 clearly struggling.
Yeah, I think what Savite needs to do is what Matt Richards has evidently done is just, take a moment, hold back, catch your breath before trying to crack on again, because make one mistake when you're pushing on the limit, you're bound to make more and more and more. So it may be best to just ease off for maybe a lap or so, get your head back in it, and then get back on, because Savite is as fast as, if not faster than, probably Monroe, Wiesemuller, and Asbury all in front of him. Doesn't make any mistakes, he should be able to catch back up to them, as Olsen's off in 22nd, 23rd now. A bit further back there.
Yeah, I just seen that Ryan Walker has jumped down into 15th position, obviously going off for Optimum Sim Racing in the 93.
Dankos has missed a sector split, is what's caused that.
Aha!
Hopefully it'll put him back. Now as Tvite's in the pits. Tvite's in the pits. So, not sure what he's doing. Maybe changing tyres, getting fueled up for a longer second stint.
Yeah, the problem though with pitting on such a short lap.
In as well.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the problem with pitting on such a short lap is that my road's just getting a bit of contact from Matt Stakos. Is that it drops you back so many positions because of how close everyone is. You can. Let's be honest. With it only being a minute lap.
That's a half a lap you'll lose.
That's half a lap, exactly. Maybe even a bit more. So, yeah, it's quite difficult for the pit lane. Well, they've all got to work with it.
With Travis trying to attack Fran Lopez, that's for 8th, 9th, and Janko Glavak right behind him in 10th for High Speed Racing. As Glavak goes for a lunge, Travis covers it off.
Travis is going to have a good drive out the final turn. He's probably not going to change up position-wise at all.
Eric Strady now almost 4 seconds ahead of John Monroe. Really putting on a drive to say, I want this championship lead, I want this championship.
Well, to take the championship lead, he's only got to score, I believe it's 4 points to take the championship lead. So, it should be quite an easy one for him to do, especially with the fact that Jesper Telborg is not here, the only person who really could match up to Strana over the previous couple of rounds that we've had. So, whether JT will return in a future round or not is unknown to us, but I would quite like to see it, because this man right here is just absolutely destroying people. As P2 and P3 are closing up together, John Monroe and Robert Wiesemuller. Obviously Danny Asbury
someone's off
being
into
released.
Joshua Anderson.
Joshua Anderson, yes. I was going to say it will look like one of the Magenta Warriors cars. Let's have a look. He's escaped back to the garage, and the Rebel is just left.
Rasmus Salo right on the back of Harley Hamnet and Kevin Anglin already, so he's really pushing. He's in 7th place currently. Hamnet and Anglin doing a good job to be running inside the top 5 on the fringe of the top 5. Is Asbury's past Wiesemuller, because Wiesemuller's spun in.
Yeah, I thought I saw Wiesemuller spin. I'm very, very sorry for that. That's a lap car, that's white.
And my replay's lagging, it's not showing me whether he had help or not, but...
it just looked like he just had a slight slide on the exit of the hairpin as he's trying to take the wider line through it. I think he's got Van der Voorde in front to get past.
A battle for 14th, 15th and 16th. That's Asadakos, Walker and Lennon getting quite heated. Lennon with the bad run through that corner has fallen off a little bit. They were side by side going into that corner's Rasmus Salo into the pits. So Rasmus Salo evidently not doing the no-stop now. This is right on the fringes of what we'd consider the sensible pit window. Anytime the next 3 or 4 laps, or anyone going half and half, and we'll really see who can try the one stop.
Indeed. Obviously, we've got a second race after this. So those who think Matt Richards has just gone wide, he has indeed. Down at P15. So he has gone wide, dropped down to 16th now, so not going well for him. I think his tyres are probably getting a bit shot. I do know that he hasn't done that much practice for this. He's appeared very, very last minute to help Oscar Halbach team out. So, yes, not too good for him.
Asadakis goes round in 12th, just in front of him. He's going to make keep hold of 15th because Nilsson's only just coming round the corner. They pulled a pretty big gap, those guys, but just in front, there's a brilliant four-way battles. Angwin pits Lopez and Travis, 6th, 7th, side by side into turn 1. Glavic, 8th, right behind. Tapping, 9th, also right behind. There goes Travis, that's up to 6th, and Glavic following through the gap. Still got an overlap, he's still got an overlap, he's going to be on the outside, gives Fran Lopez a bit of a hip and shoulder. Lopez is going to have the inside here and the inside into the hairpin, but Glavic makes it stick around the outside. Fortunate there for Fran, losing 2 places in 2 quarters.
Rob Taplin was having a little look on the inside as well. Fran Lopez for Walk Racing.
Rasmus Salo jumps Kevin Angwin. That's 19th and 18th currently, but they pitted from the battle for the top 5 as they're just behind Tobias Olsen, Rasmus's teammate, who hasn't pitted yet. There goes Rasmus, but will Tobias hold up Kevin Angwin at all? He does, as John Monroe has taken the lead. Eric Strani is pitted. Also in the pits are Fleury Callin and Robert Wiesenmuller and Harley Hamnet and Lewis Travis. A lot of people in this lap. This is the halfway point. This is what most people consider the sensible one-stop lap. But Fran Lopez hasn't given up on that position to Janko Glavic. He's all over him.
Indeed.
Changing further back.
I'm going to assume that unless they're no stopping, that Asbury and Monroe are going to be in this lap. They've just gotten themselves around Rui Martins, one of the back markers.
Rasmus Salo jumps Hamnet, but Tveit is back ahead of Angwin, but that brief moment where Angwin was held up, that's 15th for Angwin. Hamnet jumped in by quite a way, and 13th as he's back on the road, as Navarro just ahead of them is off the track. Fortunately for the other Sharkskin's factory team car. Monroe pits, Asbury doesn't. Danny Asbury leads of the race.
Yep, as Danny Asbury leads on debut.
Glavic doesn't pit either. Taplin's in, as is Lopez. Lopez has hit the wall on pit entry.
Position.
He's down to 5th. He's lost his front end. That's going to be horrible for Fran. He did something similar at Fuji, only not for that high a position. So I believe, he's going to repair that. It's going to give him some extra time stationary in the box, as we've lost Darry Tapper at some point recently.
It's a high-speed 1-2 at the moment, as those two have not pitted. So. Danny Asbury's gone a bit too wide at the hairpin. Gathers it back up. He's got to be pitting in this lap. Those tyres have gone. They've gone a long time ago. He needs to box that car right now.
Lennon and Walker and Makiyuki still going as well. They're currently ahead of the leader before the pit stops, Eric Strane. So if they're all no stopping, they are in a good position right now, as Asbury does pit for high speed racing.
He does indeed.
Interesting. Is the gap to Glavic big enough that if Glavic pits, which he doesn't, so never mind that point, I was questioning whether they may have to queue. They don't. Makiyuki keeps going. Lennon keeps going. Brian Walker has pitted for Optimum.
Indeed, Makiyuki.
Where will that put him back out?
Well, there's a very colourful Cosmo that I just didn't go past.
Asbury's leaving the pits. He's been jumped by John Monroe. Sorry, Monroe was already ahead of him, but he may have made up Wiesman's made up a bit of ground on him. But Tveit's getting a bit back in the fray. However, he will have really done tyres. They're already 7 laps old compared to everyone else's 2 or 3.
Yeah, but Strana's got a massive gap at the moment as he's coming up to the back of Gary Lennon, which is effectively the sister team for Ice Club Racing, the Save the Ring team. So he's going to try and work his way back up towards the lead of the race. Should be pretty easy for him, especially considering we reckon the cars in front will be entering pit lane.
I have a bad feeling.
Glavic, the Glavic pits. You got Makiyuki pits. Gary Lennon also pits. Eric Strana retakes the lead of the race here in Manfeild Park and does the fastest lap of the race.
Once goes into the back of Makiyuki at Stakos, maybe having to queue, actually. Didn't really be happening, but it is. Lennon looks like he may have made up a bit of time on Makiyuki. I think they're all going to be jumped by the Walk Racing cars. Yep, Glavic comes out the pits. He's behind Taplin, so Taplin jumps him, and Richards comes out right with Mackie comes out right with Richards. So I believe everybody in the top 15 has now gone into the pits, and that's a legitimate order. We have 25 cars still running.
Indeed. It's the grid has shrunk somewhat with the retirements. However, Gary Lennon, as always, is finding his way back into some points. Obviously qualifying, I believe, 18th was his qualifying position. He's always been the one that's forced his way up into the points. Does a very, very good job of it, and seems like he's getting some good results for that Save the Ring team.
Yep.
As John Monroe having a bit of traffic, sorry.
I believe everybody's getting a bit spread out right now. The closest battle is really the two Walk Racing cars and Janko Glavak for High Speed Racing. That's 9th, 10th and 11th. They're right on each other's bumpers. Not all that far behind Kevin Angwin, 8th currently. And Tveit, who may have to stop again if his tyre wear is as bad as he was saying, did pit on lap 10, so that's very early. It's going to be an extra 5 laps onto what anyone else has had to do on these tyres. Roy Magnus is in the pits. And Mikko Stukas is out of the race for Vodbull. That's both Vodbulls out, and reducing us to 24 cars still going.
Yeah, it's a shame those Vodbull guys have not had the best of luck with this this series car. I think generally when you look at Vodbull, they race very nicely in open wheelers, and obviously in the endurance department, however, heavy V8s not seeming like it's their forte, as that's Rasmus Salo, I believe, in 5th position, who's gotten past Roy Magnus, currently a lap down, who's got his teammate coming up behind to buzz his way past. Harley Hamlet doing a fantastic job as
there goes Roy.
Yeah, there goes Roy.
Hamlet's going to come under pressure from Tveit. Oh, Tveit goes off as well. Through goes Angwin. Will the Walk Racing cars get to him? No, but Tveit's tyres look like they're definitely going off again. He may have to pit, and that will drop him definitely back outside the points. They're in the points. The last points paying position, Ryan Walker, is the other end of the straight that Tveit is leaving.
Yeah, Tveit has he's third in the championship at the moment, so you know, obviously with the way we were looking in Fuji, the way he was driving that car around the final turn, it's not too surprising why he has to pit so much with the way he just absolutely powers the car out of 10.
Eric Strani, 10.5 second lead after the pit stops. This is just dominance right here from Eric Strani, similar to that we saw the latter stages of Fuji where there was nobody who could challenge him pace-wise. But it's not over for 2nd, 3rd, 4th. They're going to close up together, I expect, with John Monroe, Danny Hasbury and Robert Wiesenmuller.
Indeed, some slight gaps that we're getting at the moment, just to...
Bob Taplin, he's dropped down to 12th. He's lost a place to Glavak and Matt Richards. Happened to him at some point, and they come under attack from Makiyuki fairly soon.
Yeah, Matt Richards obviously taking your advice and not pushing the car too hard, just edging it closer and closer towards that top 10.
Fran Lopez is off, he's in 17th. Get that one back on, he's driven it into the gravel track, which are very thick down here. And yeah, he rejoins ahead of Alexander Van der Waal, who stayed on the lead lap, which should avoid all the sort of criticism that he got from Fuji. But Eric Strani is coming up behind him now to put him one lap down.
Yeah.
And looks like inside of Makiyuki doesn't do anything about it, and that was for 13th.
You know, we're always open to help some drivers learn, and hopefully here's one that has done so. Here's Eric Strana coming up to the back of those back markers. There you go, Van der Waal straight out of the way.
And Glavak has missed a sector point. Hopefully it'll put him back as well. It seems to be an issue at the moment. The sector points being skipped by certain drivers, but it does put them back. Taplin attacking Matt Richards, and just behind Makiyuki is being attacked by Lennon, and just in front, Eric Tveit is under attack from Janko Glavak And Lewis Travis's to right now misses the sector split, so...
Well, that's inconvenient. Matt Richards' tyres seem like they've fallen off a bit as he slides and understeers all over the place, which is giving Rob Taplin quite a lot of opening to move his way up into that 11th spot and have a go for the top 10. I see Gary Lennon having a look at Mackie EP in 13th position, trying to move his way closer to that top 10 spot. Currently being held by Glavak with
Richards and Taplin. They were going 2x2 through the through the chicane as they come up to the hairpin, and Taplin was offline, so he's going to lose time and lose the momentum. But just in front, his teammate Lewis Travis attacking Eric Tveit. A bit of hip and shoulder. Travis gets the gap on the inside. He's going to go through it. Tveit may get the run on the outside though, but he's not going to do it, and he's going to be on the outside if he stayed there anyway. But can Glavak follow Travis through and get their battle? As Tveit runs wide, but gets down to cover the apex. Glavak stays behind him. Further back, Richards has run wide. Taplin's got a look in, and he may have a go into turn one. I think he may be a bit too far back.
Yeah, he's not got the overspeed at the moment to do such a thing. I'll have to keep an eye on him for the next lap or two. See where he can move himself to get past the number 7 of Matt Richards.
We've lost Ryan Walker. We've lost Ryan Walker from the end of the points. He went off in the last turn and went into the wall.
Bit of contact there between Taplin and Richards. Obviously, the way these are being raced, kind of a bit like touring cars. They are touring cars, really. And a bit of knocking is rubbing his racing. It's Rob Taplin having a look down the inside. Is he going to do it?
No.
Yes, he is. Yes, Rob Taplin getting past Matt Richards for P11. So, good job by Rob Taplin. However, Matt Richards has got the inside to the next turn. Is he going to use it?
Oh, he's hit Taplin. He's hit Taplin. Taplin's held it though. Good car control.
Good car control.
Making an opportunity for Mackie Yupi and Lennon. As I was saying, back towards the front, it appears John Monroe may be suffering from some tyre issues. The gap now down to 7/10 and looks less than that to Danny Asbury. As Gary Lennon's made up a place against Mackie Yupi, back down in 13th and 14th in turn 1.
Indeed. This lot all looking nice and racy, as it is. Rob Taplin going very, very defensive as they come up to Damien Patel to get past. As Matt Richards is going to be on the outside. He's not even going to try and move. Gary Lennon closing right up to the back of the slot.
There's Mackie Yupi that's trying to look past Lennon. He may be off the cutback. Lennon goes in deep.
Yeah, but the run down to the final turn. Late apex. Final turn. Who's going to have the better run?
I wonder if Richards... The move that he made didn't pay off and he ended up hitting Taplin. Will he be going for the same move again, or will he think it too risky and he could possibly end up taking out Taplin?
If someone's thinking it's too risky, then they shouldn't be fighting for position. That's the whole point. We all like a bit of risk. That's what wakes us up and that's what keeps us going. So Matt Richards, however, has had a very, very slow run off of turn 1. I think those tyres have utterly fallen off with 4 laps to go, which means he's going to have to defend very, very heavily from Gary Lennon.
Danny Asbury right on the back of John Monroe. That's for 3rd and 2nd.
3rd and 2nd position, yes indeed. That's what we're looking at the moment for high speed, getting their first podium in Danny Asbury's current position.
And Robert, the expert of the Wiesenmuller, right in behind him 4th.
Indeed.
He'll not be settling for that 4th position given the opportunity. There is 3 laps to go, or am I reading it wrong again?
It's 3 laps to go. It is 3 laps to go.
2.5 for our leader Eric Strani.
Yeah,
he's unchallenged currently.
Yeah,
and he's
indeed.
in a big world of nowhere between cars, so it's going to be down to him to keep it on the road and down to everything on his technical side to hold up and win this race.
Yeah, wiping the floor with the field. If you really want to look at it that way, he's had a very, very impressive drive.
Matt Richards has been off and he's lost places to Mackie Yupi and Lennon. And on to 14th. I believe... Yes, he went off on the... Not even at the apex of the last corner, the entry to the last corner on the last time by. as Angwin now has to defend from Travis and Glavac, who are on a charge. That gap was quite substantial and they crippled it.
Position is that?
That is for 7th, 8th and 9th. But Travis looking to the inside already, as they're not even at the last turn yet.
Oh, bit of contact.
Angwin's closing the door. But that gives Glavac a run onto the start straight.
About P2, P3 and P4 though. Very, very close between these lot. Robert Wiesenmüller has closed up to the back of these two. So this is a nice close battle. Who's going to have a bit of a run? Oh, Danny Asbury! Right into the back of John Munro.
And here comes Wiesenmüller. He's got an overlap. And may have cost Danny Asbury his podium. Wiesenmüller's going to be on the outside. But
he's cut back to the inside.
Yep. I think all Munro has to do is park his car in the right position and not run wide like that anymore. But Wiesenmüller passes Danny Asbury with an excellent move. And now can he catch Munro? I believe that Munro could be suffering from some form of tyre issues because he's not hitting his apexes.
Indeed, final lap of the race. Danny Asbury having a bit of a dive. They're about to come round to start the final lap of the race. Danny Asbury really desperately wants his podium position for high speed on debut in the Top Step V8 Supercars for SRP. Is he going to be able to do it? Well, only way to find out.
Spike's under attack further back. So Spike is attacking Taplin further back, but this battle for second is quite heated at the moment. It's now down to Munro and Wiesenmüller. Asbury looks to have fallen off a bit after that failed overtake. But Munro keep hitting his marks, keep hitting his apexes. Wiesenmüller's going for the run out of this corner and into the hairpin. The later apex, a faster exit speed. Munro flashes the back marker of Van der Waal, who's getting out of the way nicely. Wiesenmüller's going to have the slipstream. Is he going to break later or not? But Eric Strani is going to come around the final.
Yeah, indeed.
As Danny Asbury's locked up. Danny Asbury's going off. He's held it just on the track. Wiesenmüller's got the run.
Either way, Eric Strana is going to come across the line to win the first race of the evening. But that is not what we're looking. Back to the battle for second position. John Munro. Is it going to be John Munro? Is it going to be Robert Wiesenmüller? Robert Wiesenmüller getting a bit of a slide through the final turn. Bit of slide for John Munro as well. But Robert Wiesenmüller moves his way up into second position as they cross the line. John Munro flashing his lights. I'm sure he had a little bit of fun there. And Asbury fourth.
Travis up to 7th. He's passed Angwin the last lap there as Glavac hasn't quite managed it. Taplin up to 10th. Tveit way back now from him. Maki.
Oh, Tveit!
Tveit, there goes Maki Yupi.
Through goes Gary Lennon.
Lennon as well. Tveit 13th. Oh, Matt Rich is 14th, he's gone off. Anders Nilsson makes the pass. Matt Rich is going to keep hold of 15th because everybody else behind him was a lap down. But that would have been scary for him. It would have been awful to have his race come to an end in coming out of the last corner of the last lap. But Anders Nilsson opportunistically snatches 14th.
Indeed, Eric Strana, however, has won his second race of the season here at Manfeild Park. Only half of the points to the first win that he did. Nice slide around the final turn for him. Obviously his first win coming in the 200km race that we had in Fuji. Now entering the pit lane to finish the first race of this afternoon. So how was that one?
Well, that was incredibly exciting at the end. And that's what matters, just the end result. So yeah, it was interesting to see that nobody in the end tried the no stop. There's all the drivers now congratulating Eric Strani, but yeah, no one tried the no stop. There were a few overtakings that didn't quite work out. So the order was a bit shuffled up from what the actual pace was, but nonetheless, very good job from everyone who got to the end of that race. It seemed a bit of an attrition rate for a 90km race as Brian Walker, Miko Sukas, Emil Solberg, Lazarus Kayaglu, Tobias Olsen, Joshua Anderson, Dowie Tapper, David Yin, Arkites, Reitz, and Tim Straub all didn't get to the end of that race. But they'll have another chance in race 2.
Indeed, of course, race 2, the second chance to move themselves up into a decent position. However, we're just getting a quick reset on the weekend, and we'll go through another warm-up session, and then we'll start the second qualifying session of the evening, and then we can do the second race. And there'll be some nice interviews with some of the drivers who I'm sure are quite excited with this. I think Eric Strana, looking at that pace through that race, oh, he's going to be a good shout for the win. However, pole position was very, very very close.
Yeah, indeed. I was actually surprised that Eric Tveit didn't take the lead into turn 1 due to the caliber of his starts that he's been having in the last couple of races, but there you go. The gap was too narrow and the run was too short.
Indeed. As I'm just reading that Matt Richards was indeed having some tyre problems. Obviously, Eric Tveit was as well. Tyre wear. I think anyone who was saying they were going to zero stop, I don't know, maybe a slight miscalculation, because it looked like tyre wear was very, very high at this circuit, and that's kind of like what I want to see. I like seeing the struggles, as it were, for tyre wear. It just shows a little bit of a more experienced driver when they're allowed, when they can have the ability to pull, as Eric Strana was doing, these decent laps and can quite easily one-stop, knows exactly what he wants to do strategy-wise, and completely earned that win by dominating the field, especially considering it's only a short 30, I think it was a 32-minute race. We've got 2 short races going on this evening, so very, very good shout for Eric Strana.
Just had a message from David Nannon, who is the boss of High Speed Racing. He's very happy, bordering on ecstatic with his drivers' results, 4th and 9th for Danny Asbury and Janko Glavak, both of who could possibly finish even higher up the order given their race 1 pace. Maybe a few mistakes from both drivers and bits of bad luck mixed in. Yeah, who knows, both of them could be in contention for the very tippy top of the grid next time, and possibly even a podium for race 2.
Indeed. I'm sure Danny Asbury is going to be kicking himself and going to try and move himself into podium contention. As it's hopefully a good qualifying session that we've got coming ahead of us, I believe, in 40 seconds, if I've read it correctly.
Just giving the drivers a couple of minutes to just get their heartbeats back to normal, get back focused on what the marks are for the single hot lap, which they will need to set their grid position. And hopefully from there they'll be focusing for the run down to turn 1 and the rest of the 30 kilometers that are to follow. The 30 kilometers, the 90 kilometers, 30 laps that are to follow.
Indeed. Of course, our league running 2 different types of races. We move over into the qualifying session. The 2 different types of race being the 200 kilometre event that we will run on various tracks. Only one more this season, being Sandown, which will be in a few weeks, 2 weeks' time actually, around 4 at Sandown. And then we've got another event such as that. Being Bathurst United to 200 kilometres, that one's 500 if I remember correctly.
500 with a driver
swap, indeed. So each driver is actually going to be going only 15 kilometres further. So it shouldn't be too bad on each driver. But obviously the big team event, as it were, and then we've got another 2 more events such as this coming up later on in the season with 2 shorter races, 2 90-kilometre races. At Townsville and Oran Park. We can get to that a bit later on. Here is the qualifying session we're currently sitting in. We've missed only a minute of it as all the drivers are getting set. Rasmus Salo.
The first one out on track. Verstappen is currently
12th position.
Session has put him to start 12th in this session. With Tobias Olsen and then Danny Asbury, one of the favourites for pole, as the 3rd car in this train. Then Van der Waal and Richards, and then Stolberg.
Indeed, obviously.
Olsen's gone off, but
I see Olsen off in the background.
Start his lap.
Now, Harley had a pretty good first qualifying session here. I believe he qualified within the top 20 quite nicely. I think so, actually in the top 10, where Harley hadn't qualified, which is very, very good. 10. Yeah, it's very, very good either way for him, especially considering he's been sitting around the 20th. Oh, got that bit wrong. Oh, got that very, very wrong.
Hopefully that won't impede anyone else coming up. Through is Danny Asbury.
What position is Danny Asbury? I do not see him on my 22nd. That explains it. It's Danny Asbury.
The session's rated Danny very low to put him in 22nd, but
well, who wouldn't rate Danny very low? as he heads around the second to final turn.
Evan Angwin has the fastest Sector 1 so far. He's 26th in the session. He's not too far behind Asbury, but that's quite impressive as his Sector 1 gets topped by Eric Strane at the moment, who's way far back, so Asbury's lap will almost certainly be beaten. But then, as you said before, the tyres will get better over the second and possibly even third lap as Asbury 102.566.
Matt Richards then actually beats that time straight away and moves himself up into first position, 102.495, as is Angwin, who you said about the first sector, very nice on that, who beats that time, 102.450 is the time currently. Robert Wiesenmuller jumps up into fourth, Rasmus Salo in seventh. These positions don't really matter too much, as Angwin slightly cuts the track. But yeah, these positions don't really matter too much. It's later on in the session where we will have the times drop. It's mainly on, as we said, the second and third laps in this stint. However, Eric Tvite's first lap, very impressive as he brakes and spins the cub. He did a 102.2 on his first lap. That's very, very impressive. As I want to see what Danny Asbury is going to be doing. Not really sure what position he's in at the moment. He's in fifth. Is he going to be improving? He's 700ths down on Eric Tvite's time as he comes around the final turn and runs towards the line. What time is it going to be?
White's done the same trick as he's done in first session. He's done a absolutely killer last sector.
Indeed, indeed. As Danny Asbury, I believe, improved on that lap, however, did not change position. Anders Nielsen and Olsen are in 11th and 12th, both improved their times and moved up into that 11th, 12th spot. Makiyipi in 15th. Wiesenmuller up into second position, yes indeed, good shout. Danny Asbury, exactly the same first sector.
Well, John Monroe, almost a tenth and a half, in fact over a tenth and a half up, he's currently 33rd, going left and rejoined, 12 hundredths slower. 12,000 slower, my mistake.
Sorry, he just moved up as he crossed the line. And yeah, I just see that Eric Tvite and his teammate, Strana,
Danny Asbury,
very close. Yes, indeed, 7th position. By a whole tenth. This final sector, though, we discussed this before. This is where Tvite absolutely dominated. So I actually assume this is actually going to be a little bit slower. But as Danny Asbury crosses the line, nope, it is not. That is P1 and 102.114. So good job from Danny Asbury. Remember the pole time for the first session, a 101.9. The actual theoretical overall was a 109.7, I believe you said. So
101.7.
101.7, not 109.7. That'd actually be an extremely slow lap. Makiyipi in 11th position moves up. Terry Tapper, Rasmus Salo moves up into 16th. Sidakos moves up to 15th.
Travis is up.
And Travis is up, you say, in 9th position.
Rasmus Salo 10th up on Asbury after Sector 1, coming to the end of Sector 2. Down in Asbury, but half a second up on himself, and a full possibility of going faster in Sector 3.
Indeed, Harley Hamnet did improve into 13th position. Rasmus Salo runs towards the line. What time is this going to be? Is it going to be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th? There it is. 102.376, 2 tenths off of P1. He's got, I believe, Fran Lopez in front of him.
Running in 6th. A tenth up on himself and up on Asbury after Sector 1.
Indeed. Now, Strana was part of that crew that everyone could touch him in the first sector, everyone could touch him in the second sector, but it was that final sector. That was where he pulled out the gap. That was where he really, really went for it. His teammate just in front, Eric Tvite.
Lost time.
Lost 2 tenths of a second in that second sector. There, Tapper moves up to 19th. That's Stakos into 15th again. Currently 1 second is that Stakov off of pole position at the moment. I see one of the shark skins off in the background. Eric Strana does not improve this lap. Danny Asbury looking like he's in a nice position at the moment with 9 minutes left to go. We're not even halfway through the session yet. Fran Lopez moves himself into the top 20.
Blamak has spun it in the other high-speed racing and the hairpin. That's a pretty big spin. There's people leaving the pit lane who seem to be clipping the wall. Tim Straub I saw earlier was one, and now Lewis Travis was another. But back to the times. Nobody. Oh, no. Fran Lopez, right on Danny Asbury's Sector 1. He's currently sat 21st. Obviously, he either made a mistake or was held up or something on his first lap. He's over a second up on himself. Sector 2, Fran qualified in 7th in race 1.
Across
2/10 off Danny.
Yeah, he dropped a little bit in that second sector. And he's dropped a lot in the final. Round he goes. What's Danny Asbury going to do in comparison to his previous time? Is it going to be an improvement for the first sector? I don't see. It's not giving me a split.
Danny Asbury.
P1.
Danny Asbury. Yes, he's up on. This is up on Eric White by a 10th. So my timing is also messed up right now, but
Indeed.
we'll see when it comes to the next split. He's 0.077 down on himself. After 2
He
seconds.
did do a decent first sector. Gary Lennon moves himself to within a second of pole in 16th. Strani, did you say who was in?
Was a 10th up, and he lost 99 thousandths of it. As there's a crash, that's Tim Straub and Eric White both going off.
Eric Strano, is he going to pull out a decent final sector and go to pole position? Yes, he does. 102.100, so currently 2/10 off the time he did in the previous session, so it's about 10.5 than what he did in the previous session. So
And 2/10 up on himself.
Danny Asbury, first sector, 1/10 up, nearly a 10th up. So Danny Asbury really going to try and push this one. Obviously, I believe he said that he was a 10th up. Well, Strano was a 10th down, and that's comparing it to his previous best. So he's actually a couple of hundredths off of his previous time in that first sector. He's currently got a Vodball in front of him. I think it's Darry Tapper. Yeah, it is Darry Tapper. 2/10 down. Rasmus Salo down in. Oh no, sorry, Solberg. Never mind. I was going to say Rasmus Salo did that low, but he's currently just over a second off for 18th position. That's just showing how close it is.
Both the Walk cars in 11th and 12th are improving on their lap by various amounts. Travis to the line in 12th. He's a 10th up on himself. Proves, but stays 12th.
Indeed.
Chaplin, I have no timing for at the moment, but he improves, goes up into 10th as they now are split by Yuha Makiyuki. One of those walk cars will develop separation issues because they're always together on track and in every single session.
Oh, Matt Richards crosses the first sector split, just slightly up, 200ths up as who's in P18. That is David Yunt for THR, who improves up into 18th position. Back to 8th.
Van goes into 18th.
Very good job for Van Navarro. Obviously, with the 5-point penalty from the previous round, Matt Richards drops 2 whole tenths in that second sector. That second sector is very, very good from Eric Strana, which just shows that, considering he dropped a 10th to Danny Asbury, how good Danny Asbury's was.
Joshua Anderson is nearly 4 tenths up on himself. He's way down in 29th. This current field spread is 3 tenths. If you exclude Tim Straub, the current field spread is 3 tenths closer than it was through Quali 1. And hopefully Tim Straub will improve. He's up on his own time, but not by much. As Anderson looking to seriously improve, maybe move himself up past a couple of people, but he lets David Yunt pass.
I saw Atzadakos has moved up in 17th position. That's Archives Rates in 18th. Looking at Florian Callan, who's just moved up into 25th position. David Yunt on the edge of the top 20 as he's just moved into it. And everyone lining themselves up for one final shout. Danny Asbury leaves the pit lane behind, just behind Eric Tveit, who's just moved out. I think that's Matt Richards as well, just behind him. So they're all going to give it one final stab for the second pole position of the day. Yes, Eric Strana, good shout into the 101.925, his current lap time. So whether that will be beatable remains to be seen. I would somehow doubt it, unfortunately.
Yes, Strana's been the only person to get even under a 102.1 that we've seen all through practice and through the events so far.
Indeed.
Chris Olsen improves to
15th position, indeed. Very good job for Olsen.
Emil Solberg is showing me is 12 seconds up on his first sector. That
I would somehow doubt that.
But either way, I believe he is on an improving lap.
Yep, I saw Anderson's moved up into 24th. Good shout to Anderson. That's a good lap.
Yep. Ian Anderson was improving. He's improved by a full second on his last lap as well. Very good job from him. Fran Lopez is 1 second up on himself and 4/10 down on Anderson.
Yep, well, not Anderson.
25th.
Strana.
Currently 25th. And he qualified inside the top 10 in race 1, so Fran still has a lot of time on the table. Go and get it. Virtual best lap time. Down to a 101.731, which is a couple of thousandths faster than it was in qualifying 1, with Danny Asbury now holding the fastest final sector. So he's overcome the ice-cold grip of that final sector.
Fran Lopez moves up into 11th position. Gary Lennon behind moves up into 13th.
Matt Richards 1/10 down on Eric Strani with a slipstream from Danny Asbury.
It goes up to P2. Good job. Good job, Matt Richards, for Magenta Warriors.
Give the assist on that one to Danny Asbury for the slipstream.
Indeed. They've hopefully got to be thanking each other for that.
Rob Taplin up on himself in 9th. Hamlet to the line, a 10th up on himself. Improves to 7th.
Oh. Indeed. Again, this circuit just seems to be working for Harley Hamlet. You know, he's I think previous couple of sessions he was down in the 20s and something like that, whereas now we can get inside the top 10s. It's very, very good job for Harley Hamlet. Great improvement for him. You say Mackie Yupi. He's exited his lap.
Last time by.
Gary Lennon going off at the final turn after he was only 6/10 down. They've all got time. This is the thing with this session. They've all actually got time to come out and give it another lap. If they think they can get the tyres warm enough in a single lap stint, Danny Asbury runs towards the line. It's not going to be an improvement, I don't think. Yes, it is 1 second off of his previous time. Now remember, that 1 second would put him way down. Wow, was that John Monroe flying out of the pit lane? No real care as to who was on a lap. That was pretty reckless, I'm afraid. I think Matt Richards' tyres has gone off.
Improving by 1/10 and a half as he's come around the last turn.
Whereabouts?
And both rejoining. He's 18th currently.
Indeed.
Yeah, he will have lost some time. There he goes.
It's a shame.
He loses 3/10. Stolberg is up on himself.
Travis moves up into 13th.
He's in 20th. 3/10 down on Strana.
Indeed, as he heads towards the second sector split. What's it going to be off? 6/10 off. What can he do about that as they run towards the line? Now remember how close this session is. A second can move you up. 1 second off can move you up quite a few positions. A couple of tenths improvement can move you up a lot. What's it going to be for Starbuck? He goes up to 15th. Good job. He's under a second off. Very good.
Improving back in 22nd, but not by much though.
Indeed.
Travis is 1/10 and a half up on himself. He's 13th currently, coming towards the end of sector 2.
Who's moved up into 3rd position? John Monroe's moved up into 3rd. I don't think that's already been said. Never mind.
Fran Lopez, he's up on himself, just a little bit down on himself now after sector 2, but he'll have the slipstream of his teammate, Arcades Retters.
Rasmus Salo's moved up into P8. Eric Tveit, 2 thousandths as he's gone off of the track. He was 2 thousandths difference. Travis in 11th has just moved up to 11th.
The last person across the line is Eric Strana. So he will get to finish this lap. John Monroe will also get to finish his lap, and he's a 10th up on himself. Just in front of them is a Van der Blaro who will also get to finish. And other than that, it's only Anders Nilsson still out on track in 16th.
Eric Strana half a second down. Anders Nilsson, yes. Anders Nilsson up to 14th. Good job. I don't think Strana's going to improve at all. They kick about a wheel on the final turn. Where is Navarro? 20th.
1 thousandths off of his time.
And I think that is the end of the session. So that was an interesting qualifying session, as obviously Eric Strana broke through into the 101.9s again. The only person to get under a 102 and to get even close to that was Matt Richards, who moves that Magenta Warriors up into 2nd. He's done very, very well in qualifying. So yes, it's interesting to see how that's going to work out. How are we going to move through further on? Apparently John Monroe saved Matt's day, so I don't know how that worked, but I would have assumed it was Danny Asbury.
And Danny still qualifies 4th again. Tveit 5th, so he's going to need a rocket start to be frame on turn 1 if he wants to stop his teammate. Bismillah 6th, Hamlet 7th, Salo 8th, Angwin 9th, and the two Walk Racings found each other again in 10th and 11th. So, I wonder if they're going to be working together to try and work their way up, like they normally do.
Yeah, it's all about working your way through the field here. And as we've seen with Matt Richards, what's his tyre wear going to do? That's the question here, is tyre wear. Because I don't think it's borderline, it's not borderline two-stop. We're not going that crazy time-wise. But it's just, what's going to happen tyre wear-wise with some of these people? Because some of them are absolutely destroying their tyres. So yeah, that's gonna be something we have to wait out and look for. Is what's happening tyre wear wise is between these drivers. I think Eric Strana is going to have too much of a fight for the win. I think it's going to be close, however, behind.
Yeah, as we saw how close it was, battling for second, third, and fourth, even coming down to the final turn on in the first race between Monroe, Asbury, and Wiesenbuller. And this time now you have put into that mix Eric White, who hopefully won't fall off the track again, and also Matt Richards, who I believe went off the track with Rasmus Salo in race 1. That will most likely get investigated by the stewards post-race, because there was for the entire lap and a half before there was a bit of banging and lights flashing, but
well, I'm sure if it gets reported, we will have a little look, because Rasmus Salo running completely out of room was pretty bad, but Matt losing complete control of the car is not good either. So we'll have to see how that's going to progress. And obviously, penalties should be posted in about a week's time from us lot, and will affect the championship standings as we head through into round 4 in 2 weeks' time at Sandown, the 200-kilometre race in front of us.
Yeah, that should be interesting. Because in addition to Eric Strani, I'm believing that William Levesque will return for that race, as will Oscar Hardwick and Adrian Holm. And possibly Jesper Tolborg as well, so that'll be a very interesting race over the 200 kilometres, because we saw the different strategies of how they worked out at Fuji.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, the thing is with Sandown as well. Sandown's a very interesting track. It's very open to overtaking. It's probably one of the best tracks in Canada. So I hope all of you lot who are watching tune in 2 weeks' time for the 4th round of the SRP Top Step V8 Championship.
Indeed, it will most likely be the two of us on commentary again. Now, Rob has a drive in series, so we wish him the best of luck. And if he can equal his race 1 result, he will be far from annoyed.
Indeed.
Have a quick look at the standings on my screen here, just to see if I can do some maths and work out what's
God,
going
we're going to
on.
get Quick Maths Mike out. Damn.
Yeah, not quite as good as Quick Math James, but I can try.
Shout out to Quick Maths James. My Quick Maths is truly terrible, especially when I'm doing cameras as well. But there's nothing really going on in this warm-up session. People just practicing starts. People just seeing what the car's like again. Because there's a lot to do with the feel of the car when you jump from higher fuel or from lower fuel to higher fuel. You need just a lap to get used to, and sometimes the first lap in the race is not the best time to do that. It's always good just to head out in the warm-up session and give yourself a couple of laps just to feel your way back in, so you don't make those mistakes. Only a minute to go until we move on into the second race of the evening, the final race of this evening. Another 90-kilometre race, hopefully about half an hour to 35 minutes, and then we will move on to the event in 2 weeks' time.
Finished doing some quick maths.
Oh dear.
Obviously, Eric Tveit will have taken Eric Strani. I mistake. Will take the lead of the championship. Jesper Tolborg will retain second. I don't think it's possible for him to lose second at this event. But Rasmus Salo will have jumped Eric Tveit for 3rd place, as well as Rob Taplin will have moved into 5th, and Gary Lennon, I believe, may have actually moved up into 6th place from 9th.
Now, you see, the thing is Strana is going to have an absolutely monster lead if he goes on to win this race. It should be about 40, I think it's 46 points.
44 points.
44 points. It's 6 points difference before we came here. So, 44 points a lead. That's one heavy lead for someone to hold in the championship. And
it is 46, my mistake.
See, I don't even have the standings up, and I know, damn. But no, it's going to be one strong lead as we leave here for Strana, but it's all about what's happening behind and how close they're all being, because it's looking quite nice, if I'm honest, between the load behind. The battle for what could be second in the championship, although if JT comes back, with Tolborg comes back, I think that P2 is not going to be an easy one to get for anyone else. However, we have moved session. We are ready for the event, for the second race of the evening from Manfeild Park. 30 laps ahead of us. And obviously the qualifying times state that Eric Strana was the one who took pole position in front of Matt Richards. Now John Monroe moves up into it, took third position. He started from the front row last time. What can he do from third? Is anyone going to get a bad start? I think Danny Asbury from fourth is going to be starting in exactly the same way, just pointed directly towards the grid, if you would like to flick through that now.
Yep. On pole will be Eric Strani for Ice Cold. Again, that's his second pole of the season, looking for his third race win, followed by Matt Richards, who is known for having quite decent starts, so we may see a lead change into turn one. That's for the Magenta Warriors. Third place, John Monroe for Airstream. Fourth place, Danny Asbury, again for high speed racing. And Eric Savite, fifth for Ice Cold. Sixth is Robert Wiesemuller for Sharkskin's factory team, ahead of Harley Hamnet, doing a good job again for Smile Power Racing. Rasmus Salo in eighth for one-on-one, followed by Kevin Angwin for Airstream, both Airstreams in the top 10 again. Rob Taplin in 10th for Walk, followed by Lewis Travis, who's starting for the pit lane. So Lewis Travis's race goes from whatever it was going to be to much worse. Going to have to wait a good 30 seconds before he gets going once the field are all at full speed. Fran Lopez, 12th for Experience. Johan Makiyuki for YTF1, 13th, ahead of Anders Nilsson, 14th for Optimum. Gary Lennon qualifies inside the points positions for Save the Ring. So if he moves forward like he normally does, a possible top 10 on the cards is definite. Neil Solberg right behind him, his teammate for Save the Ring. Then Janko Glavak, slightly poor qualifying for high-speed racing, but nonetheless, we'll be looking to move forward. Ahead of Tobias Olsen for one-on-one. Nick Atsadakos for Greek Virtual Racing Team. Ivan Navarro, 20th for Sharkskins. 21st, Archites Retes for Experience. And David Yunt for THR. Alexander van der Woud for YTF1. Dowie Tapper's off the track for Vodbull, as is Joshua Anderson in 25th for Magenta Warriors. Flora Kalin in 26th for Cosmo. Tim Stabers made it to the grid this time for Frammy, ahead of Miko Sukas in 28th for Vodbull. Damon Patel, 29th for Mar, ahead of his teammate Rui Martins. Lazarus Kayaglu in 31st for Mizurek. And then myself and Lewis, 32nd, 33rd, and Roy Magnus, who didn't set a time.
We did a very good job of qualifying
on the grid.
Yes, so we're about to get ready for the fifth race of the season. Who is it who's going to be first into turn one? Will it be our pole sitter? Will it be P2, Eric Strana? And they're away. Yeah, Matt Richards, once again, that start. He just gets away. Eric Tveit with a good start, getting boxed in back there in P5. A lot of contact in the background from what I saw. Maybe you can have a little look into that. Matt Richards tries to cut off, but as a nice slide out of turn one, he is still the leader in front of Eric Strana, who won the previous race, following Danny Asbury, who's moved up this time as opposed to dropping back in the previous race, which he did. Now, further back, a bit of contact between a lot of them going too wide. Matt Richards slides, he's gone a bit too deep. He's, however, keeping that lead for now.
Yeah, the contact we saw on the run to turn one, unfortunately, it was Archites Retes, and then he went off in turn one, thanks to contact with Anderson, but Anderson has waited and allowed Retes to regain his position, so good support there for Anderson. But, Monroe looks like he could be shuffled down the order even further now as Tvite's on the inside and Hamlet's right behind Tvite.
Indeed, Tveit working his way through. Bit of contact behind.
And Solberg's off.
Oh, wow.
get the
What positions?
From Salberg, he's down to 17th.
Oh, he's just dropping back to the order now. I'm not even going to try and find him.
Lazarus Kurglu.
Oh, bit of contact. Gary Lennon having a little bit of a... I'm not really sure who caused that, but that was a big, big knock.
Going 4 wide at one point there. Glavak's in there, Taplin's in there.
I think it might have been Glavak who caused that. But...
Hamlet passing Monroe, that's for 6th and 7th. Monroe's going to get the run on the outside. Hamlet was maybe a bit forceful, let Monroe have the position back, but he's left himself wide open to Fran Lopez, the crazy Spaniard, who could have a go at any corner at this track.
The crazy Spaniard. Shout out. He's a very, very aggressive driver, however, forces his way through. What position?
He's dropped 2 wheels off the track, as is Olsen just up in front, but Lennon lost the place to Makiyuki
and Angwin. Yep, Angwin's worked his way through as well, moved up into 14th position. Not really sure what else is going on. The battle for the lead. Matt Richards has a good one. Eric Strawn, however, has done the fast lap of the race. Eric Tveit now does the fast lap of the race and won a 2.375, so he is really, really pushing down in that position. Matt Richards needs to stop sliding that car out of the corners. That is only going to make some huge, huge tyre wear. As once again, see that car is... What position?
Down in 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. He keeps falling. I'm not sure where he's gone, but he got turned around in turn 1.
Oh, I got him for a minute. There he is. Hey, sorry about that.
He's just lost 30th place to Tim Straub.
Wow.
And just in front, that's Retta's going off again. He's having a hard opening couple of laps, his Archites. But yeah, Tim Straub gets passed by
Gary Lennon on the outside of Angwin. Moved his way up into 11th position. Indeed he does.
In the pits. If he doesn't get going soon, he may come out right in the thick of the action at the front. Not sure why he's in the pits, but Wiesenmuller passes Monroe. Monroe falling back, he's now down to 8th position. As Sukas retires from the race. Olsen gets a wiggle on in 9th.
Eric Tveit beats his fast lap of the race by 5 thousandths of a second.
Angwin 11, that's for 12th.
12th position, bit contact between the two. Ryan Walker looking like he's going to try and work his way through as well. I believe that's Ryan Walker behind him anyway.
Barrow and that's Anders Nilsson, in fact, in 14th. Ryan Walker, I do not believe, rejoined.
Oh, Gary Lennon! Gary Lennon straight across the grass. That's going to cost him all the way down this straight as Anders Nilsson is going to try and force his way back through. I've seen that very, very colourful car of Flory Callan on the edge of the top 20. I think he's actually within it at the present moment in time.
17th was Van der Waal into the back of Navarro. Lennon and Nilsson side by side. The positions changes. The Veit's going off. The Veit missed a sector split, but that's not helping.
Oh yeah, it's Veit.
He's off and in the wall triggers Wiesenmuller.
Oh, I can't really get him because of...
He's 23rd at the moment.
Oh, yeah, it's okay, he's crossed the line.
He's back to 9th. Taplin's got by as well. Is Monroe going to have a go?
Monroe is not. That was not good. That's the second time. I think it's actually the third time we've seen Strana go off. The second time at that... not Strana, Eric Tveit. Sorry, I've mixed up the Erics now. We can have a bit of a laugh. I see P3. I think that was P3, yes. Rasmus Salo having a fight for Danny Asbury. This is battle for the podium.
Missed a sector split somewhere. I'm not sure who it
Rasmus Salo is going to try and get a nice drive out of the penultimate turn to get past Danny Asbury for the podium positions.
Danny Asbury's missed a split, by the way.
Wonderful.
That's not put him back. Right. Did Danny Asbury go off when he went across the sector split?
I don't think he went off.
It's going to log him as a lap down either way through a technical glitch or whatnot. But
he's put back for me. He's put back for me.
Now he's back.
He just needs to cross.
Put him back across the second sector. So I thought he may have lost a lap. But Taplin in 7th is under attack. Olsen going by for 1-on-1. A little bit of contact on the exit, but that's a clean-cut move.
Yep, Olsen. Well within the top 10.
Monroe and Lopez. 16th and 17th. Monroe fights his way past. Monroe has had a awful first couple of laps. He's dropped 14 positions.
Yeah, it was a classic Monroe start for the SRP Top Step V8 Championship, where he drops back
all over the place.
largely.
Here comes Callan for the point. Here comes Monroe going 3 wide.
That was a aggressive move. He's made up 2 positions in that corner. Very, very untidy there as David Giant in the background. Having a bit of contact.
Coming back at Monroe though.
Van der Velde's come along a long way since Fuji.
Yep. Monroe looks like he get the run out of this corner.
Oh, P1, battle for the lead. Eric Strana on the inside of Matt Richards as they head down into turn 1. Is Matt Richards going to keep it there? I do not believe so. Eric Strana could be through. However, Matt Richards trying to get a good run, slide out the turn. Yep, Eric Strana up into the lead of the race, and now probably going to tootle off for the next 24 laps to go and take a win for the 5th race.
Tackling for 8, a little bit further back, but it's going mental back here in the lower echelons of the top 20. 1 point at stake, and there's 5 drivers looking like they're doing everything to get it at the moment. Fran Lopez and David side by side, but Danny Asbury, I believe, needs to split again as to Vite attacking Olsen. But Asbury and Salo both closing into Matt Richards and even to Eric Strani at the moment. But Strani's going to stretch his legs and open up that gap as quickly as he can.
Yeah, Strana's probably going to run away with this one at the moment as things stand. And yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Harley Hamnet in 5th position. That deserves one hell of a shout out. That is very, very impressive. Very good job for you, Harley Hamnet. He had a couple of problems with some drivers last time out. I believe one of them was contact with Eric de Vite, which gave de Vite minus 10 points in the championship. That
was that car, but not that driver. That was John Snockerton.
Aha! There we go. See,
Richards is lagging out, or is that me?
Nope, he has lagged out on my side as well. There he goes, off into the sunset. That could be a disconnection. Clearly copying the internet from Eric de Vite there. There's Matt Richards. That is very...
Eric de Vite is attacking Olsen. He's on the outside.
Very big shame. Keep me up to date on whether he disconnects.
Richards has, in fact, he's now back in the garage. He's disconnected. That's really unfortunate.
Such a shame. Especially after the decent
Asbury.
qualifying.
Asbury, oh, sorry, there's major lag. I don't know if that's me or the server.
Nope, that's you, I believe.
Okay, so maybe I'm lagging out now. I believe I have. I'll endeavour to get back into the server, but until then, it's going to be just Lewis.
Indeed, P1, not really too much going on. You keep an eye on live races and tell me who's getting close and close. I don't think this battle for the podium it's kind of been sitting around with Asbury and Salo for a little while. I don't think that's going to change too much. What about further down as Eric de Vite having a bit of a dive bomb on Rob Taplin for 6th and 7th, I believe it is. However, not getting a good run out of this turn. Behind them, you've got I think that's Mackie Yippee and Olsen having a bit of contact, and Gary Lennon trying to move him way up. It's not really too much because when you get on the outside, if you're still side by side on the outside of one of these turns, you know, because of the way the camber works and everything like that, you can still fly past. However, I think that's Ryan Walker on the outside. Okay, Lennon still doesn't get his way past. Eric de Vite with a big slide out the final turn. Trying to that Shane Van Gisbergen driver's style. However, he has placed himself within the barrier. Good job. That is not good for you, unfortunately. You will have to return to the pit lane, I believe. That's going to be some heavy, heavy damage on that car. However, he didn't have a puncture. Eric oh, no. Does he? He may have a puncture. There's Eric de Vite. That is a big shame for de Vite, especially for Ice Cup Racing in their championship stride. And his teammate running away with the win. He has such good pace, does this boy. As there you go. He's just having a nice little slide away. That's what he should have been doing earlier, unfortunately losing control of the car. Battle for P5, Robert Wiesemüller closing way up to the back of Harley Hamnet. Apologies for the mistake over the previous round. That was indeed Jonathan Ockerlund, which was in that car. I'm glad I got the car right. A bit of contact between the two. Have you returned your way into the server?
No, there's no way I can get back in, so
well, that is
appears to have crashed me, so I'm going to be effectively useless for
heavily enjoyable. Thank you very much, Michael. Yep, Robert Wiesemüller going on the outside, but not having any cigar there. This reminds me of my FSR days of doing commentary all solo. Thank you. However, no position change for P5. Bit of lag going on up ahead. P1, no problem. Just kind of running away with it. However, not quite as much as he was in the previous race. We reckon in pit stops should be starting in the next few laps. Danny Asbury holding that P2 at the moment. Obviously dropping off the podium. I believe it was through quite a bit of tyre wear as well that he had going wide at one of the turns and letting Robert Wiesemuller through. But Danny Asbury trying to keep the podium this time. There's nothing really too much is going on. That's not Robert Wiesemuller. That is focusing on Harley Hamnet, who is in 4th position. Gary Lennon within the top 10, as I've seen. That's a good job for him. However, in front for P8 and P9, P8 and P7. God, such an idiot. Juha Mäki and Olsen. If I remember correctly, it is indeed Olsen doing a good job to move himself into 7th position. And a bit of a slide coming out of the hairpin there. Do you have live racers back, Michael? No, he doesn't. He's abandoned me as Olsen has run wide this turn. Is he going to have a decent drive? No, he's onto the grass. He's contact with Gary Lennon.
Don't think that. Back, but it's nothing but lag at the moment.
Aha, right. So clearly the server is indeed having issues. I seem to be connecting to it. Okay, Gary Lennon.
It's on my side.
Having some contacts. Fancy go reset your internet. Oh, that's one of the shark skins off. Not really sure which one that is. It's the 111. Not sure which one. Sorry, I can't really find out because he's just in front of Glavac, which would be Ivan Navarro, who actually clearly did okay in the early stint. Moved himself up to 16th position. He is currently now after dropping back a few. So he's done a good job, evidently. That's, I think that's Dakos. P2, are you any close? Yes, they are. Rasmus Salo fighting for that 2nd position. He's having a look into the final turn. Danny Asbury says, no way. They're coming up to lap Tim Straub. Getting some nice TV coverage, you are. As Rasmus Salo enters the pit lane. Very, very uncomfortable way to enter it there. Completely sideways and pointing the wrong direction. However, as I've seen, Robert Wiesemuller has gotten past Harley Hamnet. And Rob is now in podium positions, obviously with Rasmus Salo's pitting nice and early, actually, with 17 laps to go. That's only a few laps completed, so he's got a long way to go until the end of the race. So he's going to have to really keep those tyres in one position. That was Rasmus. Oh, bit of contact there between Harley Hamnet and Robert Wiesemuller. However, keep themselves all okay. At the moment, this race has opened itself up. I saw Danny Asbury just lagging across all over the place. It's fine. He's back. He's good. The American looking for a good podium here in Manfeild Park.
Getting word that the disconnects is maybe a server-side issue, because in addition to myself and Matt Richards, Eric DeVite, Miko Sukas and Dowie Tapper were all the victims of disconnects at near enough the same time. That's unfortunate for Vodbull and Eric DeVite, as well as Matt Richards. But that's one of those things in sim racing. Hopefully we can get it sorted for the next time.
Indeed, there's always future rounds for us to get sorted out. And yes, events that we can look forward to as we head on through our championship. Obviously, being our first go at running a league, and so far, you consider the size of the grids that we've had so far this championship. We had a 32 car grid, I believe it was, in Fuji, and a 34, 36 car grid last time out in Ruapana, and now we've still got a decent. Decent sized grid here. As Eric Strana into the pits, Danny Asbury into the pits, Tim Straub coming around to unlap himself, and I believe P3, P4 all into the pit lane. Harley Hamnet has smashed the wall on entrance to the pit lane. I believe Gary Lennon is going to go on to lead the race. Is it? Yes, it is. Gary Lennon leads the race in front of his teammate, who is not currently on the same lap, I do not believe. But it kind of looks like a Save the Ring 1-2, so that's kind of pretty. I'm sure they'll like that. But Glavak is the current man running in P3, obviously. These lot have not pitted yet. So yes. Oh, I think that's David Junt under attack. Oh, wrong position. Yeah, he's just, I think I was Rasmus Salo working his way past David Junt quite easily, quite nicely. No real problems at all for David Junt. A bit of contact. A nice slide. These cars seem to be correctable from a slide, as David Junt has proved, as Eric DeVite proves almost every day that we try these. Having nice little slides around and getting himself comfortable. Gary Lennon out into the pit lane, which means Strana is going to come around to lead once again. As who's this coming out of the pit lane? I think it's Olsen, or is that Rasmus Salo? No, it is not. It is Olsen who's dropped a lap down for some reason, especially considering he was running in such a good position earlier on in the race. He's just dropped off. Oh, I see Flory Callan's in 7th position. I don't think he's pitted yet, but still, that's a very good challenge to press 7. And then we have Flory Callan for Cosmo Autosport. That's a very good job for him to be within the top 10, especially considering last round, running in Joshua Anderson's previous vehicle. He's just done a very, very good job to get himself into this position. And, yeah, very impressive. We've passed the halfway point of the race. I believe behind we've got yep, that is a battle for position. Which position that is? I believe 9th. Let's press it. There we go. It is Makayipi and Gary Lennon for P9. Makayipi having a little look on the inside. He's going to have a good run down to turn 1. Here's Makayipi. As there you go, you see Flory Callan entering the pit lane. He's got an awkward box right there on the entrance. As Makayipi trying the outside. This is now for P7. This is quite a lot of points for this position. As Tim Straub exit stage left, or right for him. And entrance. Boah. That was nearly scary. I'm not really sure what else is going on around the grid. Obviously, I don't have any sort of live timing or anything to tell, but Rasmus Salo has comfortably got that 2nd position in front of Danny Asprey at the moment, who, from just looking at it, as David Junt enters the pit lane, Eric Strana does a lap that would have actually given him pole position of 102.073. Danny Asprey in that 3rd. However, P4 is Robert Wiesemuller. I believe then that the other car, the other small car, that must have been Roy Magnus, who I thought was going to be Harley Hamnet. Rob Taplin lagging out a bit. Where is Harley Hamnet? I do not see him at all, so I'm assuming Harley Hamnet's actually dropped a long ways back.
Hamnet would have had damage if he hit the pit wall on edge.
Of course he would have done, so that would have cost him some time, which would have given him a lap down. So yes, indeed, he was a lap down, which is not good for him. P2, Rasmus Salo come up to lap his teammate. It's never a good feeling when you come around to when you're driving around and your teammate comes to lap you. There's not really much going on track at the moment. Nice, comfortable little, what looks to be previous next 10 laps, but hopefully, as we've seen the championship do so many times, it all kind of closes up towards the end. As we saw this in at the previous round of Riopana, where the lead was changed on the final lap of both races. Actually, obviously, I think it was 2 turns to the end with Adrian Holm leading, doing the no-stop strategy in the first race, and then just as they crossed the line for William Levesque, who'd also gone for that no-stop strategy, and once you've got that no-stop strategy and the leaders catch up to you, there's just nothing you can do. Especially not around a circuit such as this, which is why I think nobody is trying the no-stop strategy. However, who is catching up to who? I'm just having a look. I don't think anyone really is. I see John Monroe is back within the top 10. There he is. Bit of lag. Sorry about that. And that is David Junt behind. Yes, just a little bit of a calm and unfortunately dull race at the present moment in time. I'm not really sure what else to talk about, Michael. Well, he has left the channel, which leaves me with just you, which is always brilliant. Just having a look throughout the field, not really too much going on, unfortunately. As we're currently looking for the battle for P8 and P9. It's not really a battle, unfortunately. Anders Nielsen far too far off of the back of Aerostream's Kevin Angwin, who's comfortably within the top 10. Which means 10th position John Monroe. Obviously, as I said, pointed out earlier, he has worked his way up into the top 10. And the walk racing of, I believe that's Lewis Travis, trying to fight his way towards that as well. Looking like he's very, very racy at the moment. He goes to the outside for turn 1. Is he going to go his way through? No, he isn't. David Junt on the inside for that turn. Almost a bit of contact between the two. However, not the case. See, you've rejoined the channel.
Yep, still having horrendous lag issues. I'm not sure how relevant it is, but I believe Lennon is closing in on Makiyuki by quite... Sorry, Makiyuki's closing on Lennon by quite a way according to live races. Not
Which
sure how
position would that be?
6th and 7th.
Let's have a wee look. Makiyuki is in fact behind. Gary Lennon is in fact in 6th position, and if we check the previous laps, there was a bit of closing, not too much on that lap, but yeah. So you still have your uses, however, behind the battle between Kevin Angwin and Anders Nielsen was nice and close. I'd also assume that Ryan Walker, I believe he had a disconnection earlier on in the session, so I'm going to assume that was down to the same issue. Did he not? Okay.
No, Tobias Olsen has recently retired from the race, and in addition to that was Janko Glavak, Joshua Anderson, Eric Tveit, Matt Richards, Dowie Tapper, Lazarus Kayaglu.
Wow, very large attrition rate.
And Miko Sukas. Now, no, definitely Tapper, Richards, and Tveit were caused by that mass disconnect. Possibly Anderson and possibly Kayaglu were also victims of that, because Glavak was still running when I checked my live races, and Sukas was out on the 2nd lap, I believe.
Indeed, P23 down, or actually P24 down. All DNFs, possibly down to a disconnection problem with the server, which we shall look for in the next race, because that's about, I think that's about just over 10 cars, or around about 10 cars that have disconnected or just DNF'd from the current session, which is a large amount of laps, a large amount of people even to have disconnected, which is not what we like to see. The top lot have all just completely spread apart. It would be nice if one of you could slow down so you could catch up. No? Okay. Nah, it's worth asking. No one likes to slow down. Everyone's just going in their own convenient little spot. Anders Nielsen once again closing up to the back of Kevin Angwin, who is is pretty quick. I was just seeing that John Munro is coming under attack by Rob Taplin again. Or actually Lewis Travis even, as David Junt dives straight down the inside as they nearly 3 wide through the final turn. So, yeah, David Junt clearly looking to fight his way back up into the top 10. This is the battle for the final place in the top 10. Obviously not the final points position. Points go down to 15th, which we can have a little look in a bit, as John Munro, really big slide out of that turn, which means Lewis Travis is going to have a look every which way. Battle between the 95 and the 96. These two have had contact a couple of times. Lewis Travis has a massive dive down the inside of the hairpin and gets his way through. John Munro will have the cut back, but whether over the right speed. Those tyres look like they have gone a long time ago. Now, coming up to the penultimate turn. As I said, these two have had quite a bit of contact over the previous few races. Being their obviously contact in race 1 back in Rio Parna, where both of them were taken quite heavily down the order, and John Munro had his charge through the field, as he does quite a few times. Now straight over onto the grass was John Munro there. So yeah, a back marker, I believe that's Tim Straub. They're also coming to lap. Not really sure what happened to Tim Straub's teammate. I think it's UR2 and 9 usually, and I don't believe Juha's here. He usually fights his way up. Oh, John Munro, it was light, but he usually fights his way up in the top 5, does Juha. Does very nicely. No one else really looking too close. I think Danny Asbury might be closing ever so slightly up to the back of Rasmus Saal. However, when you look at P4 behind Robert Wiesemuller, a long way down the road, and P5 even further behind that, Rob Taplin. Just absolutely clear race, clear 30 laps, 25 laps that they've done at the moment, and just really nothing for them to do, unfortunately. Just nothing really going on, I'm afraid. Again, P8, P9. I see that they've switched around. Or yep, they have indeed. The one bit of action and I miss it. Three laps to go for Eric Strana, our leader. And he's definitely not going to get a fight for the lead, as we have seen through VS Motorsports of today. John Munro is off the final turn and into the gravel trap. Rejoins. I see Tim Straub has a lack of front bumper. David Junt, that means the battle for 10th position between David Junt and Lewis Travis. It's just those two. There is no third Airstream to fight their way through, so maybe David Junt can now have a little bit of a fight to get through. As I see just around the final turn, or around the next turn from these guys, you could see the Airstream of Kevin Angwin being led by Anders Nielsen. Again, 2 laps to go. And I don't really think we're going to have too many position changes. 15th position, just Harley Hamnet. Obviously from that, that's a good slight recovery drive from the crashes that he's had. Solberg just outside the points. Not really too much else going on. Let's go have a look at P10 as David Junt pulls out, but he's a long way back. A long way back he is indeed. However, final lap of the race for Eric Strana, absolutely no problems today with either of the races. Rasmus Salo trying to work his way through some of the lap traffic. It's quite a bit of a mess back there. Tim Straub needs to get offline a bit earlier. However, he's pretty much as far to the left as he could have gone, so I don't really know what... I believe it was Fran Lopez. I don't know what he could have expected. As Eric Strana rounds the final turn, heads towards the line and wins the second race of the evening, an unfortunately boring one, as it were to be said. Rasmus Salo comes home in second. Danny Asbury gets that podium, as he was looking for earlier on, and a bit of contact there. That's somewhat dodgy. P4 goes to Robert Wiesenmuller. P5 will go to Rob Taplin. P6, Gary Lennon, if he can hold that one. As it's okay, he wasn't going off. Pretty close, but P6 does in fact go to Gary Lennon. I'll flick through the grid in a bit. P7 to Juha Mäki-Jypi. And yeah. What were your thoughts of the evening's events, Michael Bell? Clearly, Mike cannot talk. He has disconnected from the channel, and I do not believe, with that in mind, we will be having any interviews, because it's getting a little bit awkward. But yes, I'll see if Michael can return into that, and then before then, yeah, we'll obviously flick through what we've got. The current finishing order of everyone who actually did finish that race was Eric Strana, Rasmus Salo, Danny Asbury, Robert Wiesenmuller, Rob Taplin, Gary Lennon, Juha Mäki-Jypi, Anders Nielsen, Kevin Angwin, David Young. That's your top 10, followed by Lewis Travis, John Munro, Nick Atzadakos, good job for him for Greek Virtual Racing, Fran Lopez and Harley Hamlet. That's your point scorers. Emil Solberg, Roy Magnus, Floria Callan and Ruan Martins are your 19 finishers. However, actually, nope, Van der Voda, Tim Straub did actually finish 3 laps down. You had Damien Patel, and it's just going to move on. Van der Voda and Olsen, Glavak, Anderson, Tavai, Richards, Tapper. Is a long, long list of retirements that we've had for the event. It's a bit of a dodgy one, but however, I suppose I can make time for some interviews, as I will just sort it out. Hold on for 2 seconds. As the server been a bit laggy today, unfortunately, not really too sure what we will do about that. It's going to be a bit of an awkward future. We'll have to work and look into the server and see what's going to happen. And yes, next round, 2 weeks' time, hopefully less laggy and less messy than this. Apologies for the poor broadcast. As you can see, we will be heading to Sandown on April 20th. So 2 weeks' time, we'll just have to see how that one goes. Obviously, the return of Levesque. We think Tolborg might be able to return. Holm will be there, from what we've been told. I think Oscar Harbuck will be back. So hopefully a good race ahead. But until then, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. And we shall see you in 2 weeks' time when we head off to Sandown for the 200-kilometre race. For this event, it's been myself and Michael Bell, who cannot join us at this present moment in time. But until then, have a very warm goodbye.